EVO IsoRider. What is it really? Well, it's a tool to use to help an individual neurologically prepare themselves to go out on a track or the street and have their body respond to the commands their brain is giving them.
To me, the EVO IsoRider is a tool that I can get on and find that feeling that I get to on the track, and I can express it, and I can work it, and I can find that crazy point of this is where I need to work, and this is what I need to feel, and I can drive it, and I can make sure, and I can drive that into my brain and drive that into my muscle, and I can get that track feeling right here on the EVO IsoRider, just banging out corners.
Yeah, Dustin, how does that do that? How do you feel that transfer when you get out on the street? Because now you're moving, IsoRider, you're sitting there. How does that transfer in your mind? Because it doesn't make sense to a lot of people.
The IsoRider, yeah, you're sitting there, but at the same time, you're sitting there in the same form, and you have the same feel. You have throttle, you have brake, and at the same point, you have that same, hey, this bike is moving, and I have to move it. And so, if you can do it without any gyroscopic effect of moving on the bike or moving in the street, and all we have to do is make sure that our body is in the correct position. Next thing you know, if you're doing it with your body in the correct position in a stable form, it makes it 10 times easier once you add a gyroscopic effect to it.
So you believe that the information that your muscles are sending to your brain and your brain responding to their requests transfers when you go out and you're going down the road or you're going down the track. Do you have an example of when you were on the track and you saw something like this?
So, like while I'm on the track, versus riding the EVO IsoRider, I mean, I can come right off the track and get directly on the IsoRider right there in the parking lot, and I can actually feel, like if I'm working on, I need to work on driving off the corner to where I can not have the back end step out. I can actually get on the IsoRider, get myself in that position at that lean angle, and I can work on where I need to hold that bike in position. But if I need to work on getting my leg to bend better, I can have the ISO. I mean, I can put the EVO machine on. I can have the IsoRider at this
exactly
angle,
right.
And I can work it. It's
POV goes on and causes the muscles to feel exactly as they would as if you were moving. So now you have a real example of being on the track, right, where you improved your time.
So normally on the track, depending on what track I'm at, like the last track I was at, I'm real consistent out there running about a 1:45 and a half lap time. And last time out there, I was able to run a second and a half faster consistently through full tanks of gas to where I wasn't fatigued. I was overriding my bike, and it felt easier for me to do it. Like I wasn't breathing hard. I wasn't sweating. I was just riding. And at the same point, I didn't get any arm pump. I didn't have anything going on. I was just able to ride and do it.
So unlike these virtual reality bikes, because you've ridden one and I've ridden one, and they're really kind of cool. Yeah, but they're like a toy compared to this because your muscles don't really feel the same sensations as if you're throwing a 300-pound bike around at 150 miles an hour.
I would call it a fake sensation, like a video game versus a really doing it. On the IsoRider, I can really do it versus pumping quarters into a machine and bending back and forth. That's really what it feels like to me.
Yeah. And the POV is what really gives it that opportunity. We determine, based on each individual, the position they get in or the position they want to maintain as opposed to what they can maintain. We send information accordingly with the POV to do that. So it becomes personal for every single person. As Dustin changes and becomes more efficient, or if he fatigues from having to work all week and he's been under a lot of stress, we'll see those placements change, yet we still produce the same result on the EVO IsoRider. That's what's cool, so that when you get out there on the track, you know what? Anything that's thrown at you, you're used to. Your brain says quickly, oh, I need to get back to this position. And that's really the purpose of the EVO IsoRider and the POV to do that.
I feel like I can react to it quicker and less effort. A lot of times, I mean, anytime of forming, the main thing is when in doubt, throttle out. I mean, any type of situation, you should be able to save it with your throttle. And when you're on the brake and on the throttle and you're having to move your body back and forth, if you're able to do this quicker with less effort and this doesn't wear out, look out.
The EVO IsoRider origin. Well, I was sitting in the gym with Charles Maka. We had a client named Rocco who is in need of motivation to get back on a motorcycle. He was in an accident, has many limitations. The least of which is he can't walk. But he wants to ride. He loved riding, and it would serve to be motivational to train on that. So Charles and I came up with an idea to build a replica motorcycle on springs that would cause him to have to use his legs to send information to his brain, and his brain send information back, and in turn, we're training. Yet he's on a motorcycle, something that he can't do. He couldn't get out on the street or out on the track at the time. So that was the impetus behind doing that. We have Rocco to thank for that. And we built something very crude. We had a group from KTM, HMC, and they saw this little crude apparatus that we had in our gym and asked what it was for, saw how it was used. They were so impressed with what we were trying to do, how we were trying to do it, and what we were trying to do it for, that they built us a very cool one. Well, we took that, and now we're perfecting it to an even higher level. Literally, we should be able to train people, whether they're football, baseball, basketball, hockey, rock climbers, soccer, volleyball, all on this EVO IsoRider. Because we have a way now of monitoring specific information by the position they're in on the IsoRider and the use of the POV. We can tell their brain whatever we want, when we want it, how to do what we want to do. The EVO IsoRider, without the EVO system and without the POV, garbage. It's just another toy.
A toy.
Yeah, you get information and you get feedback, but unfortunately, those are creating compensatory action. Movements that shouldn't be. Like when you had me on there, you know, I'm going and I'm thinking, hey, I'm doing pretty good. And you go, no, none of this is right. Okay? I didn't have the POV connected to me at the time because we were just trying out the machine. So it's like anything else. You get information and you know what? You're challenged. You breathe hard, your heart rate increases, you perspire, and your muscles get tired, right? But that isn't what training is.
No, you're training wrong.
That's right. Training is about providing an atmosphere where only one response will occur no matter what stimulus comes in. You only respond in the manner you're supposed to. To remain healthy, going 200 miles an hour at Daytona, how far are you leaned over, Dustin? Yeah, a long way.
As far as I can
Okay,
lean.
farther than I want to lean in this chair. Okay? Again, if a bump in the track causes your throttle hand to do something that it's not supposed to, you could be dead meat. It's not a 5-yard penalty. It's not icing. It's not a foul ball. It's not hit the ball out of play. It's you.
Anytime that bike comes to lean angle, you have caution to crash.
That's right. And that's why the EVO system with the IsoRider, it's a match made in heaven.
I mean, here's the thing. Now riding the EVO IsoRider without the EVO machine on is like going to the playground and just getting on the little school toy, and you're just
the frog.
You're the frog or the unicorn or whatever it happens to be, and you're just playing, and it's fun. Yeah, you got a little smile on your face, but you're just playing. You might as well fall off into the sand.
That's right.
When you actually have the machine, when you have the EVO,
like you have on right now,
hooked to you, you can actually get in that corner, and that muscle that you're feeling on that track when you're 20 laps in and you're trying to get yourself some, you can actually have that exact same feeling, and you're having to drive through it and work yourself through it, and so now your body knows and your brain knows, I can do this, this is where I need to be, and this is how I need to do it.
So what you're saying, Dustin, is simply this. when you have the POV on with the EVO IsoRider, you actually feel the resistance of the bike the same as if you're riding, because we're sending information to those muscles as if you were doing that. How ingenious is that?
Turning the EVO machine on for 6 minutes versus going out on the track for a 20-minute session or a 30-minute session. In a 6-minute session with the EVO UltraFit hooked up on the EVO IsoRider, I'll get off that thing sweating, breathing like, holy cow, I just got myself some. And it was like a full ride session.
You and I were at a track in Arizona. There was an individual who's been training with the POV and the EVO IsoRider, and not only was he able to go longer,
full tanks of gas
as opposed to a half a tank of gas, he was going 15 to 18 seconds faster per lap. And this is somebody who's been training with multiple forms. You know, we all see them on late night TV, and he's got everything in his home, and yet he spends 20 or 30 minutes on this 3 or 4 days a week, and he's able to transfer that directly to the track. Now, that's what we all want. You see, that's the difference between neurological stimulation and just a physiological stimulation. Get on the thing and make it a toy, or get on the thing and actually receive information that says, I am doing something, progressing me towards improving in my life, whatever I want to do with it. In Dustin's case, it's race motorcycles. In my case, maybe just surviving, sitting on a motorcycle. Okay, but however we want to use it.
In my buddy's case, all he wanted to do was run under a 220 lap time. And next thing you know, he's running 210s and 209s, and he went from like a 222, 225. I mean, his dream already became true. Now he realized, what do I do next? I can definitely drive a motorcycle or ride a motorcycle, and you're going to tell me I can do it quicker, easier, faster, with less effort. With just hooking up this machine. This EVO UltraFit machine, I hooked it up and I've been faster, easier, with less effort ever since.
It's not because of the machine, and it's not because of the EVO IsoRider. It's because of the way you use the machine. Because you see, you have to understand that you have to communicate the information from a very specific area to the brain if you want a very specific response. That's why in sports today we see, we see a great performance here, and then we see something here, and then here, and then here, and here, and here, and it's all up and down. It's totally unpredictable. Well, with our athletes, we want everything predictable. Whether it's an icing penalty or a foul ball or a 5-yard offside, or you drop the ball or your life is on the line, it's all the same to us, because being healthy neurologically is life, and it sustains life, providing for a high quality of life. So when Dustin goes to Daytona and he's doing 200 miles, one mistake and it's over. We can provide the information to allow his brain to understand that he can do this repetitively in exactly the same manner, every single turn, every lap for those 200 miles. Isn't that what we all want out of life? To do whatever it is we want to do, every time we want, anytime we want, for as long as we want.
See it right there, just got to get it.
You got to get you some.